She had 17 seconds before the wall of flames crested the ridge. Naomi's hands shook on the steering wheel as the engine sputtered, died, and refused to turn over. Smoke turned the sky orange-black. Her phone screamed evacuation alerts. Through the rearview mirror, she watched fire devour the hillside, trees exploding like matchsticks, ash falling like snow. The heat pressed through the windshield. 15 seconds. Her brother's last words echoed, "Get out. Just get out." But the engine wouldn't catch. 14 seconds. Then, headlights. A black Range Rover skidding around the curve, too fast, straight at her. She braced for impact. Metal screamed. Glass shattered. And when she opened her eyes, a man was yanking her door open, blue eyes wild with something between terror and fury. "Move. Now." She didn't know his name yet. Didn't know he owned half the valley. Didn't know that in 18 hours, she'd know every scar on his soul. Family, welcome back to our channel, where we bring you emotional stories of love. Because in truth, love and death cannot be escaped. No one can say when, how, or where. It's never too early or too late. If you're new to this channel, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification button right now so you don't miss what happens next. And if you're one of our returning viewers, thank you so much. We appreciate you. Now, stay with us to the end of this story. Leave a comment with your thoughts and like this video. Let's continue. Naomi Gaines, 36 and too tired for this, had spent the day filming burned vineyards for a documentary nobody would fund. The Napa Valley fires had started 3 days ago, lightning strikes in drought-dead forest, and now they were monsters. She'd gotten the footage she needed. Should have left an hour ago. Should have left 2 hours ago. Her 2015 Honda Civic, held together by hope and duct tape, had other plans. The engine died on Silverado Trail, halfway up the mountain, exactly where the cell signal turned to nothing. Naomi tried the ignition. Click. Click. Nothing. Smoke poured over the ridge behind her, thick and black, blotting out the sunset. The air tasted like burning. Come on. She tried again. The dashboard lights flickered. Come on, baby. Don't do this. Her phone erupted with alerts. Mandatory evacuation. Leave immediately. This is not a drill. Yeah. She'd figured that part out. Through the rear window, the fire painted the hillside orange. Trees lit up like candles. She could hear it now, a roar that sounded alive, hungry. Her chest tightened. Not panic. Not yet. She'd been through worse. Liar, her brother's voice whispered. You've never been through worse than this. Marcus had been dead 17 years. She still argued with him daily. Naomi grabbed her camera bag, her laptop, the external hard drive with 3 months of work. Left everything else. She'd walk. The main road was, 2 miles downhill? She could make it. People evacuated on foot all the time. She opened the door. That's when she heard the engine. Headlights swept around the curve behind her, moving too fast for the narrow mountain road. Way too fast. A black Range Rover, expensive and gleaming even through the smoke. It wasn't slowing down. Hey. Naomi waved her arms. Hey. The driver saw her dead car blocking half the lane. Saw her standing there like an idiot. Hit the brakes hard. Tires screamed. The Range Rover fishtailed, rear end swinging wide, and slammed into her Civic's passenger side. Metal crunched. Her car rocked. The camera bag flew from her hands. For a second, everything stopped. Just the sound of the fire getting closer. The Range Rover's engine idling. Her heartbeat in her ears. Then the driver's door flew open, and a man launched himself out like the vehicle was on fire too. What the hell are you doing? He was tall, dark-haired, wearing clothes that cost more than her rent. His blue eyes were wide, not with anger but with fear. Real fear. Why are you stopped? Why? He saw her dead car. Saw the smoke behind them. His jaw clenched. Get in my car. Now. My equipment. Get in the car. He was already grabbing her camera bag, shoving it at her. We have maybe 5 minutes before this whole road is cut off. I need my laptop. He reached into her Civic, grabbed the laptop and hard drive without asking, thrust them into her arms. Then he gripped her elbow, not rough but firm, and steered her toward the Range Rover. Argue later. Live now. Naomi's feet moved. She didn't decide to. They just moved. She climbed into the passenger seat. He was back behind the wheel before her door closed, throwing the vehicle in reverse, backing up with one hand on the wheel and his eyes on the side mirror. The man drove like he'd done this before. Fast but controlled. Confident. Seatbelt, he said. She clicked it on. He shifted into drive and accelerated down the mountain, taking curves she wouldn't have attempted at half the speed. Thank you, Naomi managed. I'm Sullivan Whitlock. He didn't look at her. His knuckles were white on the wheel. And you picked a hell of a time to break down. Wasn't exactly planned. You were filming. Statement, not question. He'd seen the camera. Documentary. Environmental impact of, she stopped. Through the windshield, she could see fire jumping across the road ahead of them, crossing from one side of the canyon to the other, cutting off their route. Oh God. Sullivan saw it too. He hit the brakes. The Range Rover stopped 20 feet from a wall of flames. 4-5 seconds, neither of them spoke. Can we reverse? Go back down. Naomi heard how small her voice sounded. Sullivan was already turning around, looking behind them. The fire had crested the ridge where her car sat abandoned. It was rolling down the hillside, eating everything. No. He said it quietly. Then louder to himself, okay. Okay. Plan B. What's Plan B? He threw the car into reverse again, backing up fast until he reached a narrow driveway she hadn't even noticed, hidden behind overgrown manzanita, almost invisible. He turned in. The driveway climbed, switchbacking up through oak trees. Where are we going? Naomi gripped the door handle. My house. Your house is up there? We're going toward the fire. My house has a panic room. Sullivan's voice was steady now. Decided. Built into bedrock. Fireproof. Self-contained air system. We shelter there until it passes. Until the fire passes? You have a better idea. I'm listening. He glanced at her. Those blue eyes weren't cold anymore. They were scared but focused. I promise you, it's our best shot. Naomi looked behind them. The fire was everywhere now. The sky was black. Embers fell like hellish snow. Okay, she whispered. Okay. The driveway opened onto a clearing, and his house appeared, modern, all glass and stone, perched on the hillside with views that must have cost a fortune. The kind of place people featured in architecture magazines. Right now, it looked small and fragile against the approaching inferno. Sullivan parked close to the front entrance, grabbed a bag from the back seat, pre-packed, she realized, and was out of the car. Bring everything you need. We're not coming back out. Naomi grabbed her equipment, her purse, followed him through a front door he didn't bother to lock. Inside, the house was beautiful, high ceilings, furniture that belonged in galleries. But Sullivan wasn't looking at any of it. He moved through the space like a man on a mission, down a hallway, through a door that looked like it belonged on a bank vault. Behind the door, stairs leading down. Come on. He started descending. The lights came on automatically. Naomi followed, her camera bag banging against her hip. The stairs ended at another vault door. Sullivan punched a code into a keypad. 8 digits. The door opened with a hiss of pressurized air. The panic room was bigger than she'd expected. Maybe 15 by 20 feet. Concrete walls. LED lights. Bunk beds. A kitchenette. A bathroom behind a closed door. Shelves stocked with water and food. A ventilation system humming quietly. A bank of monitors showing security camera feeds of the property. She could see the fire now on 3 of them, advancing. Holy shit, Naomi breathed. You really built this. After the 2017 fires. Sullivan set his bag down. I told myself I'd never be trapped again. He moved to a control panel, started checking gauges and readouts. Air filtration is active. We've got 72 hours of clean air, more if we're careful. Water for a week. Food for longer. He turned to face her. We're going to be okay. Naomi wanted to believe him. She watched the monitors. The fire was at the tree line now. 40 feet from the house. 30. How long do we stay down here? She asked. Sullivan checked his watch. Some fancy thing she couldn't name. The fire will pass over us. Could be an hour. Could be. He met her eyes. Could be longer. Depends on wind. Fuel load. A lot of things I can't control. So we wait. We wait. The house above them disappeared into smoke on the monitors. Then flames. The feed went dark on one screen. Then another. Naomi watched Sullivan's jaw tighten, watched him force himself to breathe steady. This was his home. Burning. I'm sorry, she said. Houses can be rebuilt. He moved away from the monitors, started unpacking his bag. Pulled out a laptop, portable charger, a bottle of whiskey. He held up the bottle. Want some? It's barely 7 p.m. It's barely 7 p.m. and we're in a fireproof box while the world burns outside. He found 2 glasses, poured 2 fingers in each. I'm having some. Naomi took the glass. Their fingers brushed. His hands were shaking. Just a little. But she saw. She drank. It burned going down. Good. So, Sullivan said, sitting on one of the lower bunks. Tell me about this documentary. You want to talk about my work right now? I want to talk about anything except the fact that my house is currently on fire. He drank. So yes. Your documentary. What's it about? Naomi sat on the opposite bunk, hugged her camera bag to her chest. Climate change. How fire seasons are getting longer. How everything's drier, hotter. How communities are adapting. Or not adapting. Heavy stuff. It's the reality. And who's funding it? Me. Freelance. She smiled, but it felt tight. Which is why I drive a car that dies on mountain roads. Sullivan almost smiled back. Almost. What made you want to film fires? The question sat between them. Naomi looked at her hands. She'd told this story before. To editors. To grant committees. To Iris over wine when her best friend asked why she kept chasing danger. But this felt different. Maybe because they were trapped. Maybe because she could still hear Marcus's voice. Tell the truth. What's he gonna do, leave? My brother died in a house fire, she said. I was 19. He was 16. Electrical fault in our apartment building in Oakland. I was at college. He was homesick from school. She drank more whiskey. The firefighters said he might have made it if he'd just gone to the window. But he went looking for our cat instead. Found the cat. Smoke got them both. Sullivan didn't say I'm sorry. People always said I'm sorry, like they'd personally set the fire. Instead, he said, that's why you film. To understand it. Maybe. Naomi met his eyes. Or maybe I'm just trying to feel close to him again. I don't know anymore. They sat in silence. The ventilation system hummed. Above them, the world ended. Down here, they breathed. My wife died 3 years ago, Sullivan said quietly. Cancer. Started in her ovaries, spread everywhere. She was 35. We'd been married 6 years. She wanted kids. We kept saying we'd wait. Get the business stable. Buy the right house. Then she got sick, and we were out of time. Naomi set down her glass. Don't. He held up a hand. Don't say you're sorry. I've heard sorry 10,000 times. It doesn't help. What helps? Nothing yet. He looked at the ceiling, like he could see through concrete and fire to the sky above. But I keep showing up. Keep breathing. That's all I've figured out. That's something. Is it? The power flickered. Just once. Both of them froze. Then the backup generator kicked in, and the lights steadied. Sullivan exhaled. Happens sometimes, he said. Systems designed for it. We're fine. But he didn't look fine. He looked like a man barely holding himself together. And Naomi realized this wasn't about fire. It was about control. About building a fortress underground because the world above took everything you loved. She understood that impulse. Had built her own fortress. Just carried hers inside her chest. "Hey," Naomi said. "We're going to be okay." Sullivan looked at her. Really looked, like he was seeing her for the first time. This stranger in his panic room. This woman who'd crashed into his life on the worst night imaginable. "Yeah," he said finally. "We are." Neither of them believed it yet. But maybe that was the point. Maybe surviving meant pretending you believed until you actually did. Outside, the fire raged. Inside, two broken people sat in artificial light and tried to remember how to hope. Family, if you watched this story up to this point, it means it moved you. Leave your thoughts and tell me where you are watching from in the comment, and make sure to like and hit the subscribe button if you haven't. Smash the hype button now if you found value in this content. It really helps my channel. 2 hours in, and Naomi had learned 3 things about Sullivan Whitlock. 1. He couldn't sit still. Every 15 minutes, he checked the monitors, the air quality readings, the temperature gauges. Moved around the small space like a caged animal. 2. He built his fortune in sustainable energy, solar farms, wind tech, battery storage. The irony of hiding from a climate-fueled fire wasn't lost on him. He'd mentioned it twice. 3. He hadn't let anyone get close since his wife died. He hadn't said that part. But she could see it in how he held himself. The careful distance. The walls. She recognized them. She'd built the same ones. "You hungry?" Sullivan opened a cabinet stocked with protein bars, dried fruit, nuts. Military-grade rations. "It's not gourmet, but..." "I'm fine." Naomi was editing footage on her laptop, trying to keep her hands busy. Trying not to think about the fire. About Marcus. About how her car was definitely gone now. Along with everything she owned that she'd left in the trunk. Sullivan grabbed a protein bar anyway, tossed it on the bunk beside her. "Eat. You'll feel better. You're very bossy for someone who just met me 2 hours ago. You're very stubborn for someone whose life I just saved. I would have figured something out." "Yeah? What was your plan?" "Outrun a wildfire on foot." He wasn't smiling, but something in his eyes had softened. Almost teasing. "How fast do you run?" "Fast enough." Fires move at 25 miles per hour uphill. Faster with wind. He sat on his bunk, facing her across the narrow space between them. "You wouldn't have made it." Naomi closed her laptop. "You always this cheerful?" "Only during natural disasters." He ate his own protein bar. "What are you working on?" "Editing. I got footage this morning of the burned vineyards near Calistoga. Wanted to review it before," she gestured vaguely at the ceiling. "Before all this. Can I see?" She hesitated. She didn't show rough cuts to anyone except Iris. But what else were they going to do? Sit in silence and listen to the ventilation system? Naomi opened the laptop again, turned it so he could see. Pressed play. The footage showed rows of charred vines. Blackened earth. A few green shoots struggling through ash. She'd interviewed the owner, a woman in her 60s who'd lost 3 generations of work in 6 hours. The woman hadn't cried on camera. Just stared at the destruction and said, "We'll plant again. What else can we do?" Sullivan watched in silence. When it ended, he didn't speak for a long moment. "That's powerful," he said finally. "The way you framed it. The silence. You let the destruction speak. That's the goal. Let people see it clearly. No drama. Just truth. Truth is dramatic enough." "Exactly." Naomi closed the file. "But nobody wants to fund it. Too depressing. Not enough hope." She heard the bitterness in her voice. Tried to soften it. "Apparently climate documentaries need happy endings." "Do they?" "Mine doesn't have one." Sullivan leaned back against the concrete wall. "How long have you been working on it?" 3 years. Shot footage in 12 states. Talked to hundreds of people. Used all my savings." She laughed, but it came out hollow. "My mom thinks I'm crazy. Says I should get a real job. Something stable." Something that doesn't involve chasing disasters. But you can't. Can't or won't. Is there a difference? Naomi met his eyes. Blue eyes that had seen too much. Lost too much. No, she admitted. I guess there's not. The lights flickered again. This time they stayed dim for 3 seconds before brightening. Sullivan stood immediately, checked the generator display. It's fine, he said, but his shoulders were tight. Systems just adjusting. You sure? Yeah. He didn't sound sure. He rubbed his face, and she saw how tired he was. Scared. We're fine. They weren't fine. They were underground while fire consumed everything above them. They were strangers trapped together because her car died and his house was in the path of destruction. They were two people who'd learned the hard way that the world could take everything. But they were breathing. That counted for something. Tell me about your wife, Naomi said quietly. Sullivan turned, surprise flickering across his face. Why? Because you're thinking about her anyway. And because, she searched for the right words. Because sometimes it helps to say the names of people we've lost. Makes them real again. He studied her for a long moment. Then he sat back down. Slower this time. Caroline, he said. Her name was Caroline. We met at Stanford. I was getting my MBA. She was finishing a master's in education. She wanted to teach. Not for the money, her family had plenty. She just loved kids. Loved watching them learn. She sounds wonderful. She was. Sullivan looked at his hands. When she got sick, she handled it better than I did. She was calm. Strong. Made jokes about losing her hair. Threw a party when she finished chemo the first time. His voice cracked. But it came back. Worse. And the second round of treatment didn't work. Neither did the third. Naomi waited. Let him find the words. The last 6 months were bad, Sullivan continued. Really bad. She was in pain all the time. I tried to fix it. Hired the best doctors. Flew to experimental clinics. Spent money like it could buy time. He looked up. It couldn't. And when she died, he stopped. Started again. I haven't felt anything since. Just numb. Go through the motions. Run the company. Check the boxes. But I'm not really here. Haven't been for 3 years. Until tonight. Until tonight. He almost smiled. Nothing like a wildfire to remind you you're alive. Or that you want to be. Something shifted in his expression. Recognition, maybe. Like he'd been seen. Really seen. Yeah, he said softly. Or that. Naomi woke to darkness. Complete, absolute darkness. The kind that made you question if your eyes were even open. She sat up fast, heart hammering. Sullivan. Here. His voice came from across the room. Calm. Generator cut out. Backup lights should there. Emergency LEDs flickered on. Dim red light, enough to see shadows. Sullivan was at the control panel, flashlight in hand, checking systems. What happened? Naomi's voice came out shakier than she wanted. Not sure yet. Could be the fire messed with the external power connection. Could be fuel line issue. Could be, he stopped, peering at a gauge. Hell. What? Temperatures rising. Not inside, outside. The fire's directly over us now. Naomi felt the walls press closer. Is that bad? It's not good. Sullivan kept his voice level, but she heard the tension. The room's designed for it. But the generator needs to stay running. If the cooling system fails. What happens if it fails? He didn't answer. Which was an answer. Okay. Naomi stood up, moved closer. What can I do? Nothing. I just need to. He opened a panel, revealed a mess of wires and circuit boards. Started checking connections with the flashlight. The backup should have kicked in automatically. But if the fire damaged the, damn it. The red lights dimmed. Just slightly. But enough to notice. Sullivan. I know. His hands moved faster. I know. Naomi watched him work. This man who'd saved her life. Who'd shared his worst pain. Who was trying so hard to control an uncontrollable situation. She recognized that desperation. That need to fix what couldn't be fixed. "Hey," she said quietly. "Look at me. I'm a little busy." "Sullivan. Look at me." He stopped. Turned. In the dim red light, his face was all shadows and angles. Fear. "We're going to be okay," Naomi said. "You don't know that. Neither do you. But we're here. We're breathing. And panicking won't help either of those things." She moved closer, close enough to see the sweat on his forehead. Close enough to smell smoke on his clothes. "So take a breath. Slow down. And tell me what we're actually dealing with." Sullivan stared at her. Then he inhaled. Deep. "Let it out slow. The main generator is running but struggling," he said. "Fires creating extreme heat. Systems working overtime to keep the air cool enough to breathe. If it fails, we've got maybe 3 hours before heat becomes a problem. And if it doesn't fail? Then we're fine. Fire will pass. We wait it out. So we wait. So we wait." He looked at the control panel. Back at her. "I'm not good at waiting. I noticed. Caroline used to say I tried to control everything. Weather. Time. Death." He laughed, bitter. "She was right. I can't control any of it. But I keep trying anyway." "That's not control," Naomi said. "That's just love. You loved her. Love makes us want to fix everything." "Does it?" "Yeah." She thought of Marcus. Diving into smoke for a cat. "It really does." The generator made a grinding noise. Both of them froze. Then it smoothed out. Kept running. Sullivan exhaled. "Okay. Okay." He closed the panel, set down the flashlight. Slid down the wall until he was sitting on the floor. "Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm usually better at crisis management." Naomi sat down beside him. "Not too close. But close enough. You're doing fine. I dragged you into a burning hellscape and locked you underground. That's not fine. You saved my life. That's pretty fine." He turned his head, looked at her. In the red emergency light, his eyes were dark. Intense. "I couldn't leave you there." "I know." Caroline would have done the same thing. Stopped. Helped. She never drove past anyone in trouble. His voice went soft. "I've been driving past trouble for 3 years. Tonight I stopped. Don't know why. Maybe you were ready to stop." Was I? Naomi didn't have an answer. They sat in silence, shoulders almost touching, listening to the generator fight to keep them alive. "Tell me something good," Sullivan said suddenly. "Something good that happened. Before tonight. Before fires and everything." Naomi thought about it. "Last month, I got a message from a girl who watched an old documentary I made. About the coral reefs dying. She said she decided to study marine biology because of it. Said she wanted to help." That's good. It is, isn't it? One person. But maybe one person matters. One person definitely matters. Sullivan was quiet for a moment. Then, last week, one of our solar farms powered a hospital through a blackout. Kept the ventilators running. Babies in the NICU. I got a thank you letter from a nurse. She said we saved lives. You did save lives. Caroline would have loved that. She would have been proud. Sullivan closed his eyes. I hope so. The generator steadied. The red lights stayed on. Above them, the fire raged. But down here, in the darkness, something shifted. Some invisible wall cracked. 2 strangers. 18 hours. A panic room designed to keep the world out. But the world had a way of getting in anyway. The all clear came through Sullivan's emergency radio just after 11. The fire had passed. The road was being cleared. Evacuation shelters were open in the valley. They'd made it. Sullivan opened the vault door. Smoke poured down the stairs, thick and acrid. The ventilation system kicked in harder, but it didn't help much. They climbed up together, Naomi with her camera bag, Sullivan with his pre-packed emergency kit. The door at the top of the stairs opened onto devastation. The house was gone. Not damaged. Gone. Just the concrete foundation remained, and twisted metal and ash. So much ash. The glass walls had shattered. The beautiful furniture burned. Everything he'd built, erased. Sullivan stood in what used to be his living room and didn't speak. Naomi wanted to say something. Find words. But what words existed for this? I'm sorry, she managed. Don't. He said it automatically. Then softer, don't. I knew this might happen. That's why I built the room. He turned, surveyed the destruction. It's just stuff. We're alive. That's what matters. But his voice was hollow. She could hear it. They walked through the ruins to where the Range Rover sat, untouched, somehow, parked in the clear space near the foundation. Lucky. Or blessed. Or something. Sullivan unlocked it. They climbed in. He started the engine. It turned over perfectly. Neither of them spoke as he drove down the mountain. The landscape was moonscape, black earth, skeletal trees, smoke still rising. They passed her Civic's burned-out shell. Past other houses, some standing, most not. Past emergency vehicles heading up. At the bottom of the mountain, the world was still normal. Still green. The fire hadn't reached this far. People were going about their Sunday. Grocery shopping. Walking dogs. Living. Sullivan pulled into the parking lot of an evacuation shelter, a high school gymnasium. Red Cross trucks. People wrapped in blankets. Volunteers handing out water. I can drop you wherever you need to go, Sullivan said. First words in 20 minutes. Do you have family? Friends nearby? My best friend Iris is in Berkeley. I can call her. She'll come get me. Okay. Naomi should have gotten out. Should have thanked him, exchanged numbers maybe, moved on with her life. But her hand stayed on the door handle. Frozen. Sullivan, she said. Yeah. What you said. Down there. About not feeling anything for 3 years. She turned to look at him. Did you feel something tonight? He stared through the windshield. At the people, the normalcy, the world that kept spinning while theirs burned. Yeah, he admitted. I did. Scared. Terrified. Anything else? Sullivan finally looked at her. Those blue eyes that had been wild with fear, then tired, then vulnerable in the red emergency light. Now they were something different. Something awake. Alive, he said quietly. I felt alive. Naomi's chest tightened. Me too. They sat there. Engine running. People moving around them. 18 hours compressed into a moment that felt infinite. I should go, Naomi said. You should. Thank you for saving my life. Thank you for, he stopped. Searched for words. For reminding me I still have one. She smiled. Sad and small but real. Take care of yourself, Sullivan Whitlock. You too, Naomi Gaines. She opened the door. Grabbed her camera bag. Her laptop. The external hard drive with 3 years of work. Everything she'd managed to save. She was halfway to the shelter entrance when she heard him call her name. Naomi turned. Sullivan was out of the car, standing in the parking lot like he'd forgotten what he was doing. Would it be okay if I called you? Sometime. To check in. Make sure you're okay. Her heart did something complicated in her chest. Yeah, that would be okay. What's your number? She told him. He put it in his phone. She saw his hands shaking slightly. Like maybe he was as terrified of this as the fire. 2 weeks, he said. Give me 2 weeks to deal with insurance. Figure out where I'm staying. Then I'll call. If that's okay. That's okay. Okay. They stood there. 40 feet apart. Smoke in their clothes. Ash in their hair. 2 people who'd survived the unsurvivable. Then Sullivan got back in his car. And Naomi walked into the shelter. But she didn't call Iris right away. First, she sat on a folding chair in the corner and cried. For her car. For Marcus. For Sullivan's house. For Caroline who'd wanted children. For everything the world took and kept taking. And then when she was empty, she pulled out her phone and saved his number. Just in case. Just in case he meant it. Just in case she wanted him to. Sullivan called exactly 2 weeks later. To the day. To the hour. Naomi was in Iris's apartment in Berkeley, editing footage on a borrowed laptop because hers had died 3 days after the evacuation. Her hard drive had survived, but the computer was toast. Everything she owned fit in 2 duffel bags now. Her insurance payout wouldn't even cover a used car. When her phone rang and his name appeared, her stomach dropped. She let it ring twice. Told herself she didn't have to answer. Told herself 18 hours in a panic room didn't mean anything. Trauma bonding. That's all it was. She answered on the 3rd ring. Hello. Naomi. His voice sounded different. Clearer. Less exhausted. It's Sullivan. I know. Your name came up. Right. Of course. A pause. Is this a good time? Yeah. I'm just working. On the documentary? Trying to. My laptop died, so I'm using my friend's computer. It's slow going. Another pause. Longer. She could hear traffic in the background on his end. Wind. Listen, Sullivan said. I know this is probably weird. We barely know each other. But I've been thinking about that night. About everything we talked about. And I wondered if maybe you'd want to get coffee. Or dinner. Just to, I don't know. Check in. Make sure you're okay. Naomi's free hand gripped the edge of the desk. I'm okay. Good. That's good. He sounded relieved. Then, are you though? Really? The question hit harder than it should have. She thought about lying. Saying yes, of course I'm fine. But something about his voice, the genuine concern, made the truth come out instead. I've been having nightmares, she admitted. About fire. About being trapped. I wake up and can't breathe for a few seconds. Check all the exits. It's getting better. But it's there. I know what you mean. Sullivan's voice went soft. I dream about the monitors going dark. About the generator failing. Wake up in a cold sweat. Does it help? Talking about it. I don't know. I haven't tried. That's why I'm calling. A beat. So, dinner. Naomi closed her eyes. This was a terrible idea. He was grieving. She was broke. They'd met during a disaster. Nothing good could come from this. When? She heard herself say. Tomorrow? There's a place in Napa. It survived the fires. Small. Quiet. Good food. I could pick you up. I'm in Berkeley. I know. You told me your friend was there. I can make the drive. That's an hour. I'm aware. She could hear the smile in his voice. Is that a yes? It should have been a no. Should have been thank you, but I need to focus on my work, on rebuilding, on not getting tangled up with a man who's still in love with his dead wife. Yes, Naomi said. Good. Text me the address. I'll pick you up at 6. Okay. Okay. He paused. Naomi. Yeah. I'm glad you answered. Me too. After they hung up, Naomi sat staring at her phone for 5 full minutes. Iris walked in, took one look at her face and said, "Oh no." What? That look. I know that look. Iris sat on the couch, crossed her arms. She was 38, had known Naomi since college, and had zero patience for nonsense. Who is he? I don't know what you're talking about. You have the look. The "oh God I like someone and it's going to be a disaster" look. So spill. Naomi told her. About the evacuation. The crash. The 18 hours underground. The conversation that felt more intimate than it should have. Sullivan's call. When she finished, Iris was quiet for a long moment. Girl, she finally said. That is either the most romantic thing I've ever heard, or the start of a very complicated mess. Helpful. I'm serious. You meet during a wildfire? Get trapped together? Share your deepest trauma? That's a Hallmark movie. Or a therapy case study. Could go either way. I know. And he's rich. Very. And you're broke. Yeah. I'm aware. Naomi rubbed her face. It's one dinner. Just checking in. It doesn't have to mean anything. Iris gave her a look. The look that said you're lying to yourself and we both know it. What? Naomi said. Nothing. Just, be careful. You've got a habit of diving into deep water without checking the depth. I'm not diving into anything. Sure. That's why you're already picking out what to wear in your head. Naomi threw a pillow at her. But she wasn't wrong. Sullivan was 3 minutes late, which gave Naomi 3 minutes to panic about her outfit. Black jeans, a green silk blouse Iris had lent her, boots that were comfortable but looked nice. She'd spent 20 minutes on her hair. Another 10 on makeup. Told herself it didn't matter. It mattered. When the Range Rover pulled up, her heart started doing that complicated thing again. Sullivan stepped out, and she saw he'd made an effort too. Dark jeans, a charcoal sweater, a jacket that probably cost more than her monthly rent used to be. His hair was neater than it had been in the panic room. He'd shaved. But his eyes were the same, blue and intense, and looking at her like she was someone worth looking at. Hi, he said. Hi. You look, he stopped himself. Started again. It's good to see you. Without the smoke and ash. Naomi smiled. You too. You clean up nice. So do you. He opened the passenger door. Ready. She climbed in. The car smelled like leather and something else, his cologne maybe. Cedar and citrus. It was nice. Everything about him was nice. That should have been a warning sign. They drove out of Berkeley as the sun set, turning the bay orange and gold. Sullivan asked about her work. She told him about the laptop, the borrowed computer, how she was trying to salvage 3 years of footage. He listened like he actually cared. How much would a new setup cost? He asked. Good laptop, editing software, everything you need. Why? Just curious. 3, maybe 4,000. If I go for quality. She glanced at him. Why? No reason. But something in his tone said otherwise. Sullivan. What? Don't. Don't what? Whatever you're thinking. Don't. Naomi kept her voice gentle but firm. I appreciate it. Really. But I don't need rescuing. His jaw tightened. I wasn't trying to. Yes, you were. You're thinking about buying me equipment. Solving my problem. That's what you do. Fix things. Would that be so bad? It would complicate things. What things? This. She gestured between them. Whatever this is. I won't be someone's charity case. Or someone's project. Sullivan was quiet for a long moment. Then, you're right. I'm sorry. Force of habit. I know. I just want to help. I know that too. Naomi softened. But let's just have dinner. As two people who survived something intense and want to know each other better. Can we do that? Yeah. He glanced at her, something like relief in his eyes. Yeah, we can do that. The restaurant was small, tucked into a side street in downtown Napa. Somehow it had escaped the fires, luck or wind patterns or divine intervention. Inside, it was warm and dim, candles on every table, the smell of garlic and wine and bread. They sat in a corner booth. Ordered wine. The server left them alone. So, Sullivan said. 2 weeks. What have you been doing besides work? Therapy. The word came out before she could stop it. She saw his surprise. Sorry. That was. No. Don't apologize. He leaned forward. That's good. Smart. My friend Iris insisted. Said I needed to talk to someone about the fire. About Marcus. About everything. Naomi turned her wine glass, watched the light catch the red. She was right. It's helping. What are you learning? That I've been running for 17 years. Chasing fires because I'm still trying to save my brother. Still trying to control something I couldn't control. She looked up. Sound familiar? Sullivan's smile was sad. Very. What about you? What have you been doing? Insurance adjusters. Architects. Trying to decide if I rebuild or sell the land. He drank. And thinking about Caroline. About whether she'd want me to rebuild. Whether she'd want me to, he stopped. To what? To move on. He said it quietly, like an admission. I've been stuck for 3 years. Frozen. But that night in the panic room, I felt something shift. And I don't know what to do with that. What did you feel? Sullivan met her eyes. Like maybe I could imagine a future again. Not the one I had. That's gone. But something different. Something new. The air between them felt charged. Electric. Naomi's heart was racing. That's good, she managed. That's really good. Is it? Yeah. Life's for the living. Caroline would want you to live. Would she? I think so. Marcus would have wanted me to stop punishing myself too. But it's hard. Letting go. Moving forward. Terrifying. Completely. They ordered food. Talked about smaller things, his company, her documentary, places they'd traveled, books they'd read. The conversation flowed easy, natural, like they'd known each other longer than 18 hours in a disaster. But underneath, something hummed. An awareness. An attraction neither of them mentioned, but both felt. Halfway through dinner, Sullivan's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, frowned. Problem? Naomi asked. My mother. She's been, he stopped. She's worried. Wants to know I'm okay. Where I'm staying. If I need anything. Where are you staying? Hotel in San Francisco. Near the office. He typed a quick response, set the phone down. She wants to meet you. Naomi nearly choked on her wine. What? I told her about you. About the evacuation. How you, he looked almost embarrassed. How you helped me through it. She wants to thank you. Sullivan, you saved my life. Not the other way around. You saved something else. He said it quietly. Something I didn't know I still had. The words hung between them. Heavy. True. What did you tell her about me? Naomi asked. The truth. That you're a journalist. That you're brilliant and stubborn and you called me out when I tried to fix your problems. He smiled. She liked that part. Did you tell her we're, Naomi stopped. What were they? That we're having dinner? No. Should I have? I don't know. Should you? Sullivan leaned back, studying her. What do you want this to be, Naomi? The question was so direct it stole her breath. She thought about lying. Playing it safe. But he'd been honest with her. In the dark. When it mattered. She owed him the same. I don't know, she admitted. I'm attracted to you. I like talking to you. But I'm also scared. Because we met during trauma. And I'm broke. And you're still grieving. And this could blow up in both our faces. It could. So what do we do? Sullivan reached across the table. Took her hand. His touch was warm, solid, real. We take it slow, he said. No pressure. No expectations. Just, see where it goes. If it goes anywhere. And if it doesn't? Then we'll know. But at least we tried. He squeezed her hand gently. I haven't wanted to try anything in 3 years. You make me want to try. Naomi felt tears prick her eyes. Stupid. It was just dinner. Just words. But they felt like more. Okay, she whispered. Slow. Slow. They finished dinner. Shared dessert, chocolate cake that was too rich but perfect. Drove back to Berkeley with music playing softly, neither of them talking much, but the silence was comfortable. Easy. When Sullivan pulled up to Iris's building, he put the car in park but didn't turn off the engine. Can I see you again? He asked. Yeah. When? Whenever you want. He smiled. Really smiled. The first genuine, full smile she'd seen from him. It transformed his face. Made him look younger. Less haunted. How about this weekend? There's a gallery opening in San Francisco. Artist I know. It could be boring. But the wine will be good. I don't have anything to wear to a gallery opening. Wear what you're wearing now. You look perfect. Sullivan. Sorry. Force of habit. But he was still smiling. Wear whatever you want. I just want you there. Naomi's chest felt tight. Full. Scared and hopeful at the same time. Okay. Text me the details. I will. She should have gotten out then. Should have said goodnight. But she leaned across the console instead, kissed his cheek. Quick. Light. Just enough to feel the warmth of his skin. When she pulled back, his eyes were wide. Surprised. Good night, Sullivan. Good night, Naomi. She climbed out. Walked to the building entrance. Turned back once. He was still sitting there, watching her, hand touching the spot where she'd kissed him. Inside, Iris was waiting on the couch. One look at Naomi's face, and she groaned. Oh no. What? You're falling for him. I am not. You absolutely are. I can see it. You're glowing. Naomi sat beside her. I'm in so much trouble. Yeah. Iris put an arm around her shoulders. But maybe that's okay. Maybe trouble's what you need. What if it doesn't work? What if it does? Naomi didn't have an answer for that. Hadn't let herself imagine it. What if it worked? What if Sullivan Whitlock, with his blue eyes and his broken heart and his need to fix everything, was exactly who she needed? What if she was exactly who he needed? What if they could save each other? That night, she didn't dream about fire. She dreamed about his hand holding hers across a table. About his smile. About possibility. And when she woke up, she didn't check the exits. She checked her phone instead. His text was already there. Thank you for tonight. I haven't felt this hopeful in years. Sleep well. She typed back, you too. Then added, this is terrifying. His response came instantly, completely. But I'm glad we're terrified together. Naomi smiled at her phone like a teenager. Iris would never let her hear the end of it. But maybe that was okay. Maybe being terrified together was exactly how you learned to breathe again. 3 weeks. That's how long they'd been doing this, whatever this was. 3 weeks of dinners and gallery openings and long drives through wine country, surveying the damage, talking about everything and nothing. 3 weeks of text messages that made Naomi smile at inappropriate times. 3 weeks of Sullivan showing up with coffee exactly how she liked it, even though she'd only mentioned it once. 3 weeks of falling, and she was terrified. They were in his temporary office in San Francisco, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the bay, sleek furniture that belonged in magazines. Sullivan's company had given him the executive suite while he figured out his living situation. It was impressive. Intimidating. Naomi sat on the leather couch, editing footage on her new laptop. Not borrowed. New. She'd saved up from 3 freelance articles she'd sold. It had taken every penny, but it was hers. She'd made sure Sullivan knew that. He was at his desk, on a conference call about solar contracts in Nevada, his voice confident and commanding. She tried not to watch him. Failed. There was something about seeing him in his element, sharp, focused, brilliant, that made her heart do complicated things. The call ended. Sullivan swiveled his chair to face her. How's it going? He asked. Good. I'm cutting the Calistoga sequence. The interview with the vineyard owner. She showed him her screen. What do you think? Too long. He came over, sat beside her, close enough that she could smell his cologne. Watched the footage with that intense focus he gave everything. It's perfect, he said. Don't cut anything. Her pauses matter. The silence matters. You think. I know. He looked at her. You're brilliant at this, you know. Capturing truth. Making people care. Stop. I'm serious. This documentary's going to be important. You'll see. Naomi closed the laptop. You're biased. I'm honest. He reached up, tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. The touch was casual, easy, like he'd done it 100 times. But it sent electricity through her. "Can I ask you something?" "Depends what it is." "Come with me tomorrow. To look at a property." "You're rebuilding?" "Maybe. I want to see some options. Get a feel for what I want." He paused. "I'd like your opinion. I don't know anything about real estate. You know about what feels right. What feels like home." His eyes were serious. "That's what I need. Someone who sees more than square footage and investment potential." Naomi's chest tightened. This felt significant. More than looking at houses. This felt like he was asking her opinion on his future. Like maybe she was part of that future. "Okay," she said. "Tomorrow." "Thank you." He stood, pulled her up with him. For a moment they were standing close, his hands on hers, neither moving. The air felt charged. Then his phone rang. He glanced at it, sighed. "My mother. Again. She's called 3 times today." "Answer it. She's going to ask about you. So tell her the truth." "Which is?" Naomi met his eyes. "That we're figuring it out." Sullivan smiled, squeezed her hands, then answered. "Hi, Mom." Naomi could hear the woman's voice, warm, concerned, rapid-fire questions. Sullivan's face went through several expressions: patient, exasperated, fond. "Yes, I'm eating." "No, I'm not working too much." "Mom, I'm 41, not 14. A pause. "Actually, I'm with her right now." Silence on his end. Then his mother's voice got louder. Excited. "No, you can't talk to her. Because we just started, Mom." "Mom." "Fine. Hang on." He held out the phone to Naomi, looking apologetic. "She wants to say hello. You can say no." Naomi took the phone. "Hello." "Naomi." The woman's voice was bright, enthusiastic. "I'm Rachel. Sullivan's mother. I've been dying to talk to you. He's told me so much, about the fire, about how brave you were, about your documentary work." "He's exaggerating." "He's not. Trust me, I know my son. He doesn't exaggerate. And he certainly doesn't talk about anyone the way he talks about you." A pause. "I'd love to meet you properly. Are you free this Sunday? I'm hosting a small dinner. Just family. Nothing formal." Naomi looked at Sullivan. He was watching her, something vulnerable in his expression. This was big. Meeting his mother. Meeting family. That was. "I'd love to," Naomi heard herself say. "Wonderful. Sullivan will bring you. 6 o'clock. I'll text him the address." Rachel's voice softened. "Thank you, dear. For making him smile again. I'd forgotten what that looked like." Naomi's throat tightened. "He makes me smile too." "Good. Then you're perfect for each other. See you Sunday." The call ended. Naomi handed back the phone. "I'm sorry," Sullivan said. "She's enthusiastic. She's sweet. She's nosy. And meddling. And she probably thinks we're getting married tomorrow." Naomi laughed. "Are we?" "God, no. I mean, not that I wouldn't, I just meant," he stopped, flustered. She'd never seen him flustered. It was adorable. "We're taking it slow. Remember?" "I remember." "Good." But he was smiling. "You really want to come Sunday?" "Yeah. I do." "It's going to be awkward. She'll ask a million questions. My sister will be there, she's worse. And my nephew, who's 12 and will probably show you his Fortnite wins." "Sounds perfect." Sullivan pulled her close, wrapped his arms around her. She melted into him, pressed her face against his chest, heard his heartbeat. Steady. Strong. Real. "Thank you," he murmured into her hair. "For being patient. For not running. For being here." "Where else would I be?" "I don't know. Anywhere. You could be anywhere. But you're here." She pulled back enough to see his face. "So are you. You could have driven past me that night. Could have saved yourself." "No." He touched her cheek. I really couldn't have. They stood like that, holding each other in his temporary office, the city spread out below them, the sun starting to set. It felt like a moment from a movie. Too perfect to be real. But it was real. His arms. His warmth. The way he looked at her like she mattered. Naomi was falling. Hard. Fast. No way to stop it. And the terrifying part? She didn't want to. The property was in Sonoma, 40 minutes north of Napa. 20 acres of rolling hills, oak trees, a creek running through the eastern edge. The house had survived the fires, barely. Needed work. But the bones were good. The views were stunning. Sullivan walked the property with the realtor, asking questions about wells and septic systems and fire-resistant landscaping. Naomi wandered, taking it in. The space. The quiet. The way the land felt alive. She found herself by the creek, watching water move over smooth stones. This was the kind of place you built a life. Raised kids. Grew old. What do you think? Sullivan's voice came from behind her. She turned. He was standing a few feet back, hands in his pockets, looking uncertain. Like her opinion actually mattered. It's beautiful, she said. But. No but. It's beautiful. The land. The house. All of it. Would you want to live here? The question stopped her heart. What? I'm not asking you to move in. We've known each other 5 weeks. That would be insane. He came closer. I'm asking if this is the kind of place you could imagine. Someday. When things are less new. Naomi looked at the creek. The trees. The sky so blue it hurt. Yes, she admitted. I could imagine it. Good. Relief flooded his face. Because I can't imagine it without you anymore. And that's terrifying. And probably too much too soon. But it's true. She reached for his hand. It's not too much. No. No. She squeezed his fingers. It's terrifying. But it's not too much. They stood by the creek, holding hands, not speaking. The realtor gave them space, sensing something significant was happening. And something was. Something neither of them could name yet, but both felt. Sullivan bought the property that afternoon. Made an offer, negotiated for 20 minutes, shook hands. Done. On the drive back to Berkeley, Naomi said, you just spent $5 million on a house you looked at for 30 minutes. 5.2, actually. The creek added value. Sullivan. What? Normal people don't do that. I'm not normal people. I'm a billionaire with decision-making authority and a tendency to act impulsively when I know something's right. He glanced at her. Does it bother you? The money? Yes. No. I don't know. Naomi struggled to articulate it. It's just, we're so different. I'm scraping together rent. You're buying 20-acre estates. How does that work? I don't know. But I want to figure it out. He reached for her hand. The money's just money. It doesn't change who I am. Who you are. What this is. Doesn't it though? No. His voice was firm. I've learned the hard way that money can't buy the things that matter. Can't buy time. Can't buy health. Can't buy, he stopped. Can't buy this. What we have. This is real. Everything else is just noise. Naomi wanted to believe him. But a voice in her head, Marcus's voice maybe, or her own doubt, whispered, how long before the money becomes the thing? Before you're the charity case? The project? She pushed the voice away. Held his hand. Chose to believe. For now. Rachel Whitlock's house was in Pacific Heights, a beautiful Victorian with a view of the Golden Gate Bridge. The kind of place that had been in the family for generations. Old money. Real money. Naomi stood on the sidewalk, staring up at it, suddenly aware of her thrift store dress and her uncomfortable heels. Hey. Sullivan touched her elbow. You okay? Your family is rich. Yeah. Like, generationally wealthy. Yeah. And I'm wearing a $20 dress from Goodwill. Sullivan turned her to face him. And you look stunning. My mother is going to love you. My sister is going to interrogate you. My nephew is going to bore you with video games. It's going to be fine. What if they hate me? They won't. What if they think I'm after your money? Then I'll correct them. He cupped her face. Naomi. Breathe. They're just people. Nosy, well-meaning, slightly overbearing people. But just people. She nodded. Breathed. Okay. Okay. They climbed the steps. Sullivan opened the door without knocking. His childhood home, she realized. The smell hit her first, something baking, cinnamon and sugar warmth. Sullivan. A woman appeared, late 60s elegant, with Sullivan's eyes and a smile that could light rooms. Rachel. She pulled him into a hug, then turned to Naomi. And you must be Naomi. Oh, you're even prettier than he said. Mom. Hush. I'm allowed to compliment her. Rachel took Naomi's hands. Thank you for coming. And thank you for, her voice caught, for bringing my son back to us. We'd lost him for a while. Mom, don't. I'm not crying. I'm just happy. But her eyes were wet. She squeezed Naomi's hands. Come. Everyone's in the living room. Are you hungry? I made my grandmother's pot roast. The evening was overwhelming in the best way. Rachel asked a million questions, about her work, her family, her life, but with genuine interest, not judgment. Sullivan's sister Emma was 38, sharp and funny, a corporate lawyer who grilled Naomi like a witness but then winked and said, "You'll do." The nephew, Tyler, showed her his Fortnite stats for 20 minutes, and she pretended to understand. Through it all, Sullivan stayed close. His hand on her back. His eyes checking on her. Making sure she was okay. She was more than okay. This was family. Real family. The kind that teased and laughed and argued over who got the last role. The kind she'd lost when Marcus died and her parents divorced. The kind she'd stopped believing she could have. After dinner, Rachel pulled her aside. They stood in the kitchen, Rachel packing leftovers into containers for Naomi to take home. Can I tell you something? Rachel said quietly. Of course. When Caroline died, Sullivan died too. Not physically. But the light went out. He stopped laughing. Stopped hoping. Stopped everything except work. She looked up, eyes serious. I prayed every night that he'd find a reason to live again. And then you crashed into his life. Literally. She smiled. I don't believe in accidents. I believe in timing. And I think you two found each other exactly when you were supposed to. Naomi's eyes burned. I'm falling for him. Fast. It's terrifying. Good. Love should be terrifying. That's how you know it's real. Rachel touched her arm. But let me give you some advice, from someone who's been married 43 years. Don't let fear win. Don't run when it gets hard. And it will get hard. All relationships do. But the ones that last are the ones where both people choose to stay. Every single day. Even when it's scary. What if I'm not enough? What if? Stop. Rachel's voice was gentle but firm. You are enough. Exactly as you are. The question isn't whether you're enough. It's whether you're brave enough to believe it. The words hit like a punch. Naomi nodded, not trusting her voice. Rachel pulled her into a hug. Welcome to the family, dear. We're loud and nosy and will drive you crazy. But we love hard. And we protect our own. Later in the car, Sullivan said, that wasn't so bad, right? It was perfect. Yeah. Naomi leaned her head back against the seat. Your mom's amazing. Your sister's terrifying. Your nephew is obsessed with video games. Accurate on all counts. They really love you. I love them too. He glanced at her. What did my mom say to you? In the kitchen. That I should be brave. That fear isn't a good enough reason to run. Are you thinking about running? Naomi turned to look at him. His profile in the streetlights. Strong jaw. Worry in the set of his shoulders. Every day, she admitted. This is fast. And intense. And I keep waiting for the other shoe to drop. For you to realize I'm just broken. Struggling. Not worth the effort. Sullivan pulled over. Right there on a residential street in Pacific Heights. Put the car in park. Turned to face her. Listen to me, he said. I am broken too. I spent 3 years as a ghost. I have days where I wake up and Caroline's death hits me all over again. I have nightmares. I cry in the shower. I am nowhere near healed. He took her hand. But you make me want to heal. You make me want to try. And I don't care that it's fast. I don't care that it's scary. I care that when I'm with you, I feel alive again. And I will remind you every single day that you are worth every effort. Every risk. Every terrifying moment. Do you hear me? Tears streamed down Naomi's face. Yes, she whispered. I hear you. Good. He wiped her tears with his thumbs. Now stop running. Stay. Please. I'm scared. Me too. But let's be scared together. She kissed him. Finally. Properly. Not a peck on the cheek, but a real kiss. Desperate and sweet and full of everything she couldn't say out loud. He kissed her back like she was oxygen. Like she was the only thing keeping him alive. When they pulled apart, both breathing hard, he pressed his forehead to hers. Stay, he whispered again. Okay, Naomi breathed. Okay. They sat in the parked car, holding each other, while the world moved around them. Two people who'd survived fires, real and metaphorical, learning how to build something from the ashes. It was terrifying. It was perfect. It was real. Naomi was having a panic attack in Iris's bathroom. She sat on the closed toilet lid, head between her knees, trying to remember how to breathe. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. The therapist's voice in her head, you're safe. You're here. You're okay. But she wasn't okay. Sullivan had said he loved her. 3 hours ago. Over dinner at that Italian place they both liked. He'd said it casually, like it was obvious, like it was easy. I love you. You know that, right? And she'd frozen. Completely frozen. Fork halfway to her mouth. Eyes wide. Heart racing. He'd noticed immediately. Too soon. God, that was too soon. Forget I said it. But you couldn't unsay it. The words were out there now. Real. Terrifying. She'd finished dinner. Made excuses. Said she had an early deadline. Took an Uber back to Berkeley even though he'd driven her there. She'd seen the hurt on his face. The confusion. But she'd run anyway. Now Iris was knocking on the door. Naomi. Let me in. I'm fine. You've been in there 30 minutes. You're not fine. Naomi opened the door. Iris took one look at her face and said, What happened? He told me he loved me. And I left. Got in an Uber. Came home. Hid in the bathroom like a child. Okay. Iris sat on the edge of the tub. Why? Because I don't know if I can do this. The words tumbled out. It's been 7 weeks. 7 weeks. That's not enough time to know if you love someone. That's just trauma bonding. Shared experience. Chemistry. Is it? Yes. It has to be. Because if it's real, if it's actual love, then I could lose him. And her voice cracked. I can't lose someone else. I can't. Iris was quiet for a long moment. You're thinking about Marcus. I'm always thinking about Marcus. No. You're living in Marcus. In the moment you lost him. You've been stuck there for 17 years. And every time something good happens, you sabotage it because you're terrified it'll be taken away. That's not. It is. Iris's voice was gentle but firm. You did it with David. Remember? The architect? He was good to you. Wanted to marry you. You picked fights until he left. David was boring. David was safe. And you couldn't handle safe, so you destroyed it. Iris leaned forward. And now Sullivan, who's brilliant and kind and crazy about you, tells you he loves you, and you're doing it again. Running before you can be hurt. Naomi pressed her hands to her face. What if I'm not capable of this? What if I'm too broken? You're not broken. You're scared. There's a difference. Is there? Yes. Iris pulled Naomi's hands away from her face. Broken means you can't heal. Scared means you're healing and it hurts. You're scared. That's normal. That's human. But you can't let fear make your decisions. Not anymore. Naomi's phone buzzed. Sullivan's name lit up the screen. She stared at it. Answer him, Iris said. I don't know what to say. Start with the truth. The phone stopped buzzing. A text appeared instead. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. I know it's too fast. Can we talk? Please? Another text. I'm not going anywhere. Take your time. But please don't shut me out. Another. I love you. I know you're not ready to hear it. But it's true. And I'll wait until you are. Naomi's vision blurred. She typed, I'm scared. His response came instantly, I know. Me too. I don't know how to do this. Neither do I. But we'll figure it out. Together. What if I can't say it back? Then you can't. I'll still be here. Why? Because you're worth waiting for. Naomi sobbed. Big, ugly, shoulder-shaking sobs. Iris held her, said nothing, just let her cry. When she finally stopped, when she was empty, she texted, Can you come here? To Berkeley? I'm already in the car. Been parked outside for 20 minutes. Didn't know if you wanted to see me. Come up. Please. On my way. Sullivan stood in Iris's doorway looking wrecked. Hair messy from running his hands through it. Eyes tired. Still wearing his dinner clothes. He'd been sitting in his car for almost an hour. Hi, he said. Hi. Naomi's voice was hoarse from crying. Come in. Iris excused herself to her bedroom, giving them privacy. Sullivan came inside, hands in his pockets, careful. Like Naomi might bolt again. They sat on the couch. Not touching. A foot of space between them that felt like miles. I'm sorry, Sullivan said. I shouldn't have. Don't. Naomi stopped him. Don't apologize for how you feel. That's not fair to either of us. Okay. I need to explain. Why I left. Why I'm like this. You don't have to. I do. She turned to face him. When Marcus died, I learned that everything you love can disappear in seconds. Fire. Accident. Disease. Gone. And for 17 years, I've protected myself by not letting anyone get too close. I do my work. I have Iris. I keep moving. But I don't, she swallowed hard. I don't let myself fall in love. Because love means loss. Eventually. Always. Sullivan listened, his face unreadable. And then you happened, Naomi continued. This wildfire brought you crashing into my life, and you are, everything I didn't know I wanted. You're kind and damaged, and you understand me in ways I don't understand myself. And that's terrifying. Because now I have something to lose again. Something big. Something that matters. So you ran. So I ran. She wiped her eyes. But here's what I realized. Sitting in that bathroom having a panic attack, running doesn't protect me. It just means I lose you sooner. On my terms instead of fate's. But I still lose you. And that's worse. Losing you because I was too scared to try. Sullivan reached for her hand. Slowly. Giving her time to pull away. She didn't. I can't promise I won't die, he said quietly. Can't promise I won't get sick or hit by a bus or struck by lightning. Can't promise forever. Nobody can. I know. But I can promise I'll show up every day I'm here. I can promise I'll fight for this. For us. I can promise you won't lose me because I stopped trying. He squeezed her hand. And I can promise that loving you is the first good thing I've felt in 3 years. And I'm not giving that up. Even if you can't say it back. Even if you need time. Even if you're scared. I am scared. I know. But I don't want to run anymore. No. No. Naomi moved closer. Closed the space between them. I want to stay. I want to try. I want, she took a shaky breath. I want you. All of you. The grief and the fear and the parts that aren't healed yet. I want to figure this out. Together. Sullivan's eyes were wet. Yeah. What about the love thing? I'm not there yet. I don't know when I will be. But she searched for the right words. I'm falling. Hard. And it's terrifying. But I'm not running. That's enough. He pulled her into his arms. That's more than enough. They held each other on Iris's couch, and Naomi felt something shift. Not fear disappearing, it was still there, humming under her skin. But something else growing alongside it. Something that felt like hope. Stay tonight, she whispered. Just stay. Are you sure? Yeah. I don't want to be alone. Don't want you to be alone either. So he stayed. They lay on the couch, her head on his chest, his arms around her, neither sleeping much. Just breathing. Just being. Two people who'd survived fire learning to trust the quiet moments between the flames. 3 weeks later, everything seemed perfect. Too perfect. Sullivan's house in Sonoma was being rebuilt. He'd hired an architect, drawn up plans, included details Naomi had mentioned offhand. A sunroom for editing. Big windows. A dog door for the hypothetical dog they'd talked about maybe getting someday. Her documentary was getting interest. A producer in LA wanted to see the rough cut. An actual producer with actual funding. It felt impossible. Like life was finally working. They were spending more time together. She'd stayed at his hotel 4 nights last week. He'd stayed at Iris's place twice. They were talking about her getting her own apartment, something bigger, closer to him. He'd offered to help with rent. She'd said no. They'd compromised. He'd help her find places, she'd pay what she could afford, they'd figure it out. It was working. And that scared her more than anything. They were at a cafe in Napa, sharing lunch, when Sullivan's phone rang. He glanced at it, frowned. My architect. I should take this. Go ahead. He stepped outside. Naomi watched through the window as his expression changed. Confusion. Then frustration. Then something darker. When he came back, he looked shaken. What's wrong? She asked. The permits fell through. For the house. Some issue with environmental restrictions. Fire zone regulations. He sat down hard. They're saying I can't rebuild. Not the way I planned. Maybe not at all. Can you appeal? Yeah. But it'll take months. Maybe a year. He rubbed his face. I thought I had this figured out. Thought I had a plan. And now you adapt. I don't want to adapt. I want to build my house. Our house. He looked at her. I was picturing you there. Us there. And now. Sullivan. Naomi reached across the table. It's a house. Just a house. We'll figure something else out. It's not just a house. He stopped. I need this. Need something to work out. Need something I can control. And there it was. The truth he'd been avoiding. Control. The illusion of it. The desperate need for it. You can't control this, Naomi said gently. You can't control fires or permits or timing. You can only control how you respond. Is that what your therapist tells you? The words came out sharp. Bitter. Not like him at all. Naomi pulled her hand back. Yes, actually. It is. Sullivan closed his eyes. I'm sorry. I didn't mean. You did mean it. She kept her voice steady. You're frustrated. I get it. But don't take it out on me. You're right. I'm sorry. But he didn't sound sorry. He sounded angry. At the permits. At himself. At everything he couldn't fix. They finished lunch in tense silence. The drive back to Berkeley was worse. Every attempt at conversation died. Every silence stretched too long. When they reached Iris's building, Sullivan said, Can we talk about this? Really talk. About what? The house. About us. About, he struggled. About how fast this is moving. About whether we're ready for. For what? For all of it. Living together. Building a life. He gripped the steering wheel. Everything was moving forward and now it's not, and I don't know how to. How to what, Sullivan? Naomi felt something crack inside her chest. How to handle things not going according to plan. How to deal with setbacks. That's not fair. Isn't it? You need control. You need things to work out your way. And when they don't, what? You question everything? Question us. I'm not questioning us. Yes, you are. You're scared because the house fell through. Because you can't fix it immediately. So now you're wondering if we moved too fast. If this is real. If I'm worth the complication when life gets hard. That's not, he stopped. Because maybe it was. Maybe that was exactly what he was doing. Naomi unbuckled her seatbelt. I can't do this. I can't be with someone who questions us every time life doesn't go perfectly. Because life never goes perfectly. There will always be fires. Always be setbacks. Always be things we can't control. Naomi, wait. No. I need space. Her voice cracked. I need to know you're in this even when it's hard. Not just when it's easy and romantic and working out. I am in this. Are you? Because it feels like the second things got complicated, you started pulling away. I'm not pulling away. I'm trying to figure things out. Well, figure them out without me. She opened the door. When you're sure, really sure, you know where to find me. Naomi. She grabbed her bag, got out, and walked away. She didn't look back. Couldn't. If she looked back, she'd crumble. She'd go back to him and pretend everything was fine and let him work through his control issues while she shrank herself to fit his comfort zone. No. She'd spent 17 years making herself smaller. Avoiding love. Running from connection. She wasn't running anymore. But she wasn't chasing either. If Sullivan wanted this, really wanted this, he'd have to figure out how to show up when things got hard. And if he couldn't? Then at least she'd know now. Before she gave him everything. Before she said those 3 words she still couldn't say. Before she loved him so much that losing him would destroy her. Inside the apartment, Iris took one look at her and said, "What happened?" Naomi collapsed on the couch. "I think we just broke up." "You think?" "I don't know. Maybe." He started questioning everything. The house fell through, and suddenly he's not sure if we moved too fast, if we're ready, if she stopped. And I couldn't sit there and be questioned. Not when I've been fighting so hard to let him in. What did he say? He said he's trying to figure things out. And you said, to figure them out without me. Naomi closed her eyes. Was that wrong? Did I ruin everything? No. Iris sat beside her. You set a boundary. That's healthy. That's growth. Then why does it feel like I'm dying? Because you love him. Naomi opened her eyes. I can't love him. I never said. You love him. You've loved him for weeks. You're just too scared to admit it. Iris took her hand. And that's okay. But now you need to decide, are you going to let fear win? Or are you going to fight for this? I told him to figure it out. Right. And now you wait. See if he does. Naomi's phone buzzed. Sullivan's name. She stared at it. Don't answer, Iris said. Not yet. Let him sit with it. Let him figure out what he wants. The phone stopped. A text appeared. I'm sorry. You're right. About everything. I'm scared and I'm trying to control what I can't control, and I'm taking it out on the best thing in my life. I don't want space. I want you. But I understand if you need time. I'll wait. As long as you need. Another text, I love you. That hasn't changed. Won't change. Not because of permits or setbacks or anything else. I love you. And I'm going to prove it. Naomi read the messages 3 times. Her heart was racing. Her hands shaking. What do I do? She whispered. What do you want to do? What did she want? To run? To fight? To love him and risk everything? She wanted all of it. None of it. Something in between. But mostly, she wanted to be brave. I want to give him a chance, Naomi said. To prove it. To show up. Then you wait. See what he does. So she waited. And that night, she dreamed of fire again. But this time, Sullivan was there. And they were walking through the flames together. Not running. Not hiding. Walking through. Together. Sullivan didn't call for 2 days. Naomi told herself that was fine. He needed time. She needed time. Space was healthy. But every time her phone buzzed and it wasn't him, her stomach dropped. On the 3rd day, he showed up. Not at Iris's apartment. At the community center in Oakland where Naomi volunteered twice a month, teaching kids basic filmmaking. She was helping a 10-year-old frame a shot when she looked up and saw him standing in the doorway. He looked terrible. Hair uncombed. Dark circles under his eyes. Same clothes he'd worn when she'd left him in the car. Their eyes met across the room. He didn't smile. Neither did she. When the class ended and the kids filed out, Sullivan came over. Hands in his pockets. Uncertain in a way she'd never seen. "Hi," he said. "Hi. Can we talk?" "Here." "Anywhere. Please." Naomi gathered her equipment. They walked to a small park across the street, sat on a bench facing the playground. Kids laughing. Dogs barking. Normal life happening around them. "I've been doing a lot of thinking," Sullivan said. "About control. About fear. About Caroline." Naomi waited. "When Caroline died, I told myself I'd never let anything hurt that badly again. So I built walls. Made money. Built a house on a hill. Created this fortress where I could control everything." He looked at his hands. "But the fire took the house. Took the control. And I panicked. Because if I couldn't control that, what else would I lose?" "Sullivan. Let me finish. Please." He turned to face her. "Then you happened. And you made me feel things I'd locked away. Made me want things I'd stopped believing in. And that was terrifying. But it was good terrifying. Worth it terrifying." He paused. "Until the permits fell through. And suddenly I couldn't control that either. Couldn't fix it. And my brain went to the worst place. What if I can't control this relationship either? What if it falls apart? What if I lose her too?" "So you started questioning everything." "So I started questioning everything. Because if I questioned it first, if I pulled away first, then losing you would hurt less." He laughed, bitter. "Except that's not how it works. These 3 days without you have been worse than anything. Worse than the permits. Worse than watching my house burn." Naomi's chest ached. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying I was wrong. I'm saying I can't control this. Can't control us. Can't control whether we work or fail or get hurt." He reached for her hand. "But I don't want to. I don't want control. I want you. Messy and complicated and terrifying as it is. I want you. Even when things get hard. Especially when things get hard." His voice was raw. "That's when I need you most. That's when we need each other. And I'm sorry I forgot that. Sorry I let fear make me question the best thing that's happened to me in years." Naomi felt tears building. "I've been scared too. Scared of losing you. Scared of loving you." Have been. Or are. AM. Present tense. Constantly. She squeezed his hand. "But I'm tired of letting fear win. Tired of running. Tired of protecting myself from hurt by refusing to feel anything good. So what do? We choose to stay. Every day. Even when it's scary." She met his eyes. "Can you do that? Can you stay even when you can't control it? Even when life gets messy?" "Yes." No hesitation. "Yes. I promise." "Because I need that promise, Sullivan. I need to know that when things get hard, and they will, you won't question us. You'll question the situation. Figure out solutions. But us? We're solid. We're the thing you don't question." "We're solid," he repeated. "I promise. No more questioning us." "Okay." Okay. He pulled her closer. I have something to show you. Will you come with me? Where? Trust me. Naomi looked at his face. Exhausted and hopeful and scared and brave. Yes, she said. I trust you. They drove to Sonoma. To the property. To the 20 acres that couldn't be built on. At least not the way he'd planned. Sullivan parked near where the main house was supposed to go. Got out. Helped Naomi out. Walked her to the clearing overlooking the creek. I've been working on something, he said. The last 3 days. Instead of wallowing, I worked. On what? A new plan. He pulled out his phone, showed her architectural drawings. The original plan was too big. Too much. Too controlling. I was building a fortress again. But what if I built something else? Something smaller. More sustainable. Something that works with the land instead of dominating it. Naomi studied the drawings. A modern cabin. Maybe 2,000 square feet. Huge windows. Solar panels. Rainwater collection. A deck overlooking the creek. It's beautiful, she breathed. And it meets all the environmental regulations. I checked. I can break ground in 3 months. He swiped to another drawing. And this is the guest house. Or the studio. Or whatever you want it to be. Your space. For editing. For work. He stopped. For you. If you want it. Her heart was pounding. Sullivan. I'm not asking you to move in tomorrow. I know it's too soon. But I'm asking, he turned to face her fully. I'm asking you to build this with me. Not my house. Our house. Something we create together. Something that's yours as much as mine. I can't afford. I don't care about money. This isn't about money. He cupped her face. I love you. And I want a future with you. And this, he gestured at the land. This is me showing you I mean it. This is me proving I'm not going anywhere. Naomi couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. Could only feel. Say something, Sullivan whispered. I'm scared. I know. What if it doesn't work? What if it does? She looked at the drawings. The land. The creek. The sky. This man who'd crashed into her life during a wildfire and hadn't left. Who'd seen her broken and scared and running, and stayed anyway. Who was standing here, exhausted and terrified and hopeful, asking her to build a life. Okay, she whispered. Okay. Okay. Let's build it. Together. Sullivan's face broke into the biggest smile she'd ever seen. He picked her up, spun her around, and she laughed, really laughed, for the first time in days. When he set her down, she kissed him. Deep and long and full of everything she couldn't say yet. But almost. Almost. I have something else, Sullivan said when they pulled apart. He reached into his jacket, pulled out a small box. Naomi's heart stopped. If that's a ring. It's not. I promised slow. I meant it. He opened the box. Inside was a key. Simple. Silver. It's to my hotel suite. I want you to have it. So you can come and go. So you know you're always welcome. It's not moving in. It's just a place, Naomi finished. A place that's mine too. Yeah. She took the key. It was warm from being in his pocket. Real. Solid. Thank you, she said. Thank you for giving me another chance. For not giving up on us. I thought about it, she admitted. The last 3 days. Thought about calling it quits. Protecting myself. What changed your mind? Your texts. The way you owned your fear. The way you said you'd prove it. She touched his face. And I realized, I'd rather have you and risk the hurt than not have you at all. Marcus taught me that. When he died. Life's too short to let fear make the choices. Sullivan's eyes were wet. He'd be proud of you. The woman you've become. The work you do. The bravery. You think. I know. He kissed her forehead. Can I tell you something? Always. I talked to Caroline. 3 days ago. At the cemetery. First time I've been there in months. He took a breath. I told her about you. About us. Asked if it was okay. If I was allowed to love someone again. Naomi's throat tightened. What did she say? Nothing. Obviously. She's gone. His smile was sad. But I felt, I don't know, peace. Like she'd been waiting for me to figure it out. To realize that loving you doesn't erase her. Doesn't dishonor her memory. If anything, it honors it. Because she taught me how to love. And now I get to use those lessons again. She'd like that. I think so too. He pulled Naomi close. And I think she'd like you. You're both stubborn and brilliant, and you don't take my crap. Important qualities. Essential. He was quiet for a moment. Thank you for being patient with me. With my grief. With my control issues. Thank you for being patient with my fear. My walls. My running. We're quite a pair. The most dysfunctional. But we're trying. We're trying. They stood by the creek, holding each other, the December sun warm on their faces. Two people learning how to build something from nothing. From ash and fear and broken pieces. 2 weeks later, Naomi moved half her things into Sullivan's hotel suite. Not everything. She kept Iris's place as backup. Just in case. But her laptop. Her clothes. Her camera equipment. The things that mattered. Sullivan helped her carry boxes, didn't push for more than she could give, made space in the closet and the bathroom like it was the most natural thing in the world. That night, they ordered Thai food and ate it on the floor because the table was covered with architectural plans. They were making changes. Small ones. Her ideas mixed with his. A reading nook. A bigger kitchen. Dog door on the left instead of the right. What kind of dog do you want? Sullivan asked. A rescue. Something that's been through hell and needs a second chance. Fitting. Right. She smiled. What about you? I don't care. As long as it makes you happy. Stop being perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm just, he searched for words. I'm just grateful. Every day. That you're here. That you stayed. Naomi set down her pad thai. Looked at him. This man who'd saved her life. Who'd shared his darkest pain. Who'd built her a studio before she'd agreed to move in. Who loved her loud and honest and without reservation. I love you, she said. The words hung in the air. First time. Real. True. Sullivan's chopsticks dropped. What? I love you. Louder. Stronger. I'm terrified and it's too fast and I have no idea what I'm doing. But I love you. And I needed to say it. Before I lost my nerve. He moved so fast. Crossed the space between them. Pulled her into his arms. Kissed her like she was everything. Say it again, he whispered against her lips. I love you. Again. I love you, Sullivan Whitlock. I love your broken pieces. I love your control issues. I love how you make me brave. He was crying. Actually crying. I love you too. So much. So much it scares me. Good. We should both be scared. Terrified. Completely. They sat on the floor surrounded by Thai food and architectural plans and the life they were building. Not perfect. Not easy. But real. So what happens now? Sullivan asked. Now we keep showing up. Keep choosing each other. Keep building. Even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Deal. He kissed her again. Soft. Sweet. Full of promise. When do you want to get married? Naomi pulled back. What? Too soon. Sullivan. I'm not proposing. Not officially. I promised slow. But I need you to know, he took her hands. I'm going to marry you someday. When you're ready. When we're ready. Could be 6 months. Could be 2 years. But it's happening. You're it for me. The person I want to build with. Grow old with. Fight with and make up with and wake up next to. You're insane. Probably. He grinned. But you love me anyway. I do. God help me, I do. Good. Because I'm not going anywhere. Promise. Promise. The house was finished. Not the big fortress Sullivan had originally planned. The smaller cabin. 2,000 square feet of glass and wood and sustainability. Solar panels on the roof. Rainwater collection. Garden beds ready for planting. And the studio. Naomi's studio. North-facing windows. Editing desk. Shelves for equipment. A space that was entirely hers. They moved in on a Saturday. Rachel brought food. Emma brought wine. Tyler brought his gaming console and asked when they were getting the dog. Iris brought a housewarming gift, a photo from the night of the fire. Someone had captured it. Sullivan helping Naomi from the wreckage. Both of them covered in ash. Both alive. To remind you, Iris said, of where you started. What you survived. Naomi hung it in the hallway. First thing on the walls. That night, after everyone left, they sat on the deck overlooking the creek. The same spot where Sullivan had shown her the plans 6 months ago. Where she'd said yes to building something together. Happy? Sullivan asked. Yeah. Naomi leaned against him. I really am. Me too. They were quiet. Just listening to the creek. The wind in the trees. The sounds of life. Hey, Sullivan said. I have something for you. Another gift? You just built me a house. It's small. And it's time. He pulled out a box. Bigger than the key had been. Opened it. Inside, a ring. Simple. Beautiful. A sapphire the color of his eyes. Naomi's heart stopped. Naomi Gaines, Sullivan said. 6 months ago, you told me you loved me. You choose me every day. You've been patient with my grief, my control issues, my fear of losing everything. You've made me brave. You've made me want to live again. He took the ring out. I promised I'd wait until we were ready. I think we're ready. So, will you marry me? Will you build the rest of this life with me? Even when it's hard. Even when it's scary. Tears streamed down Naomi's face. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Absolutely yes. He slipped the ring on her finger. It fit perfectly. Of course it did. He'd probably measured her finger while she slept. Typical. I love you, Sullivan whispered. I love you too. She kissed him. Long and deep and full of everything they'd survived. Everything they'd built. Everything they'd become. When they pulled apart, she said, we're getting that rescue dog tomorrow. 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 This house needs a dog. We need a dog. Sullivan laughed. Really laughed. Okay. Tomorrow we get a dog. And then we start planning a wedding. Small. Intimate. Just family. And Iris. Obviously Iris. He pulled her closer. Have I mentioned I love you? Once or twice today. Not enough. He kissed her forehead. I love you. I love our house. I love our life. I love that you crashed into me during a wildfire and changed everything. Best worst night of my life. Mine too. They sat on the deck as the sun set, the sky turning orange and gold, fire colors, but beautiful now. Not destructive. Just light. Two people who'd survived the unsurvivable. Who'd taken their broken pieces and built something whole. Who'd learned that love wasn't about control or safety or avoiding pain. Love was about showing up. Choosing courage over fear. Building together even when, especially when, the world burned. Above them, stars appeared. One by one. Bright against the darkening sky. And in the house behind them, their house, built from ash and hope and second chances, the lights glowed warm. Home. Finally. Home. Thank you for watching this story to the end. If you enjoyed this story, you will surely love the next one. It's as crazier and more intriguing as you can ever imagine. So do check it out. Click on the image showing on your screen right now to watch the next one.